So, hi everyone. Hi everyone that's joining today in the Facebook world. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this time. Maybe you're out for a walk or moving about your day, whatever it is that you're doing. I have the pleasure to be joined with Supriya. Supriya is one of our lead educators throughout our yoga teacher training courses, our Kundalini training courses. Supriya is our Ayurveda expert, Ayurveda of the body, and I also say Ayurveda of the mind as well. Supriya, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm so excited to be here doing this with you today, Sabrina. This is one of my favorite things to do. Um, yeah, so I love teaching at Yoga Farm. I love being one of the lead educators teaching Ayurveda and Kundalini Yoga as well.
Mhm.
My background is I started in public health. I actually used to volunteer as an EMT firefighter, so I've done a lot in the healthcare world. And then I went to medicine. So I have my medical degree from Brown University. And what I found is that I really felt more disenchanted with what I found, that it was really about separating body parts and more like symptom management, as opposed to really discovering what is at the root cause and how can we help people actually get better and feel better in their bodies so that they are able to go about their days with joy, with vitality, with doing the things that they want to do, as opposed to just like another medication or more medication management. And that's what really brought me back to my roots. My parents are from India, so back to my roots, which is Ayurveda, which I have absolutely fallen in love with.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit for those that might just be passing through, like what is Ayurveda?
Yeah, so
Little
I
short glimpse of it. What is Ayurveda?
so Ayurveda literally means the science of life. And it is a system of ancient wisdom and science and medicine from India. And it's based on a framework that uses nature. And so it's based on five elements: air, ether, water, earth, and fire. And the fact that we can find all of those elements in nature and within ourselves. And when we understand the balance of the elements within ourselves, then we can understand where we are currently, where we're likely to go out of balance, and what element do we then need to bring ourselves back into balance. So it's very intuitive wisdom.
Mhm. And with that, we start to weave this knowledge, this wisdom within our 200-hour and our advanced 300-hour teacher training courses. So, leaning into the lens of how do we teach Kundalini yoga through the lens of Ayurveda. Okay. So that's what we're doing today. This, if you arrived here, we're moving through a coaching session, and Supriya is going to take the reins here, I'm here to answer all the questions and to receive some knowledge and some wisdom and some guidance into my own personal health journey. So thank you for taking the time today, Supriya.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to this, Sabrina, and for answering these questions live. And I really appreciate your openness and willingness to be here. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Where should we get started?
Um, yeah, so first, you do have an understanding of Ayurveda, right? And you do have a background and some sense of where you feel situated in your own body. Would you mind just sharing a little bit of where that is, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ayurvedically, through the doshas, I am Vata, Kapha. So more of that air ether, uh, perhaps within the mind space, Kapha within the body, that has fluctuated over the years. Um, so moving through the seasons, just trying to stoke my inner fire. That's the least of my elements that are present. Interestingly enough, within Ayurveda and within my astrology chart as well, I have like one thing in a fire space. So I'm like, is there any correlation? But yes, so it takes a little bit for me to get that fire going, even that digestive fire. I definitely lean more towards that end of vata within digestion, and I have learned to appreciate all of the seasons. So, uh, going outside all of the time, I think that was really a shift just to say, like, okay, this is how I'm feeling at this time. This is my body. This is how I'm receiving. This is my high. This is my low. And essentially, as Supriya said, it's like, how do I keep myself in balance, including that fire element that I like kind of naturally maybe naturally lack. You know what I mean? So, Yeah,
Um,
Vata Kapha.
so just to follow up on one thing that you mentioned, you said more cough on your body, but that's tend to shift over the years. Could
Mhm.
you explain a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, over the years, kapha in my body. So I would say that the way that my body presents right now, my features are more towards kapha. And would it be a kapha imbalance? I don't know. But over the years, my body has changed in the realm of, its physical type. I have always been big boned. I have always been big boned. So I believe I've always had that kapha base, and my body does react really well, in the past at least, to physical movement, exercise, things of that nature. It can tend to move towards more of a vata, slimmer type of slimmer type of figure. So at least in the body, physically, that's how it presents.
Yeah. I just want to call out a couple of things there, if you don't mind, or
I love
highlight
it.
is probably better. So a lot of people think they're big bone, but a lot of that just also has to do with like society and growing up and things that we and images that we were shown and the way other people viewed us. When really it might be that you had a more medium pitta bone structure. And the reason that I bring that up is because you said that your body responds really well to physical exercise, that
Yeah.
you respond really quickly, it sounds, in the physical body in terms of maybe developing muscle, maybe toning, maybe losing some weight for more of a kapha presentation. And so that kind of quick response, that's more of a pitta response, actually. So you might have a little more fire in you than you think.
And it's so interesting because I've recently been like leaning into, rather than just being Vata Kapha, I just consider myself like Tridoshic. And
Mhm.
it's just like, okay, what is present, what's not present, and what do I need more of? Where do I need the balance? Because I would say right now, maybe it's with the season change or something of that nature, but my digestion and everything of that nature is definitely, and my go is definitely more geared towards Pitta currently.
Okay, so
Hmm.
yes, we are all the elements, and
Yeah.
I love to say that and I love to repeat that because it's true. We are all of the elements. It's just a question of finding where they are within us and then kind of cultivating the best aspects of them so that they're able to shine within us. So I love that. It's viewing yourself as tridoshic so that you're bringing awareness to where all the elements are in your body. So you said that right now your digestion is kind of and your elimination is more towards pitta. So first, what, if anything, is bothering you at this present moment? So is it more kapha presentation in the body? Is it more pitta digestion? Or is it something else altogether?
Yeah, I would say it's more, well, the Pitta digestion is, I think it's good for me. I think it's good for me. I would rather lean towards that realm, but I might have shared with you, and I'll share here with everyone, but it has been like a little bit like after I eat. It's a lot like my partner, who's it's like all of a sudden it's just that digestion is just going. Where for me, it might be like in the past, it would be like, not going, not going in that realm. It could even be like of days,
Yeah.
of days. So definitely leaning towards that within the digestion. And as far as like my physical body, though, my physical body leaning towards would be leaning towards kapha.
And so, I think sometimes, especially if someone is prone towards vata digestion, so especially constipation, no bowel movements for multiple days on end, anything towards having more bowel movements,
And
have more
as far
bowel
as like
movements,
my physical, oops,
or
sorry,
have
I was making sure there was no comments coming through, and it started just repeating us. Sorry, go ahead, Supriya.
um, sometimes anything that's in the realm of moving
Physical
towards
body leaning
having
towards.
having a bowel movement every day can seem more as if you're in the pitta realm, but it
Mhm.
might not be, right? It's just
Okay.
that your digestion is moving in a more steady manner.
Hmm.
And steady digestion is also very much the realm of kapha dosha.
Hmm.
People with a lot of kapha dosha in their physical body will have very steady digestion. They'll have a bowel movement every day, really no digestive upsets. So I would love to. So is that what you'd want to explore today? So what would you like to explore today?
I would like to explore that today, and as well as, because that's a little bit new to me.
Huh?
for that. That's a little new to me. And then I would also maybe like to explore, talk about like inflammation a little bit.
Okay.
If and maybe in the realms of what that might be Ayurvedically and what I could lean into with that. I did share with you that I did receive my blood results back, my test results
Mhm.
back.
Yeah.
Not the hormone panel, but some of the other ones. My vitamin D was low, so I'm upping my vitamin D, and then the sed rate, which I believe is for like inflammation within the body,
Yeah.
that came back high. So those
Was
were
it
like,
just ESR or did they also run a CRP?
what was the question?
Did they only run an ESR or did they also run a CRP?
Just an ESR that I see.
And how high was it?
It's a 22.
It's not.
So they said it was like just like over.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like
Okay.
it's borderline.
Okay. Okay.
Like, so an ESR rate, a sedimentation rate, a erythrocyte sedimentation rate for those listening is a very, very non-specific marker of inflammation. It literally could mean anything, quite frankly. And the fact that it's just so mildly, like I'd honestly call it borderline,
Okay.
it's not really something I would potentially really anchor to.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of things, like I said, is very non-specific, could cause it to be so mildly elevated. Quite
Okay.
frankly, having a low vitamin D level, because vitamin D is involved in so many different processes in our body and is so important for things like immunity and response to stress. I
Mhm.
mean, I might even like hazard a fairly educated guess that having a low vitamin D levels and maybe being a little bit less resilient to stress would honestly cause that value.
Okay.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. That's good. That feels good then. The only other thing is the HDL cholesterol was a little low, just at 42.
Yeah, so HDL cholesterol is kind of like what we consider the good cholesterol. It's
Mhm.
the cholesterol that is most helpful. So cholesterol, I know, has gotten vilified a lot in modern society. Cholesterol is actually a really important molecule. Cholesterol is the backbone for all of our hormones in the body. If we do not have cholesterol in the body, we don't make any hormones.
Mhm.
Cholesterol is also really important for our cells. Like our cells actually have cholesterol molecules in the cell wall membrane. Going back to high school biology here a little bit. So cholesterol is really important for literally every cell in our body. So we need cholesterol.
Mhm.
HDL is what's considered the good cholesterol. It's a little bit of a larger particle compared to the low density LDL cholesterol or VLDL, very low density cholesterol. Those, and then there's even ones below that. And those are the ones, especially the VLDL and lower, that really start to get into more problems, especially when it comes to clotting our arteries.
Okay.
So HDL cholesterol, the number one thing to improve HDL cholesterol is exercise. It's not diet, it's nothing else. The more you move your body, the more you exercise, the higher HDL cholesterol, the higher HDL is.
Okay.
Yeah. Number one, easiest way to do it.
All right. And I think that was all that I really was going to mention, at least within the blood work that I had gotten back at this time. So it's good to hear like these are all things that are adjustable and that, I can work through and
Yeah.
maybe help improve as well.
Yeah.
So,
So I
so
would say for the vitamin D, what are they recommending you for supplementation?
well, I was already taking 2,500, so they said to double it.
Okay.
So up
Yeah.
to, so I've been taking two of the capsules each day.
Yeah, and some people find that they respond better to some forms of vitamin D than others. So most vitamin D that you find in supplement form is actually based on lanolin, which is sheep's wool, and so it's actually derived from like sheep's wool lanolin.
Okay.
And some people find that they don't necessarily respond as well to that, and they find that it's harder to digest and it is more processed.
Mhm.
So some people find that they respond better to either a fish oil based vitamin D,
Okay.
or if you avoid meat for whatever reason, the vegan form of that is going to be a lichen based vitamin D.
Okay, I'm gonna have to write that one down.
Yeah.
Write that one down. Thank you.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say about vitamin D is, especially for more of the vegan formulas, a lot of times they come in capsules that are with like rice hulls or other like drying ingredients. You really want to make sure you're taking it with fat. So if it comes in any sort of like coconut oil or even like safflower oil or olive oil, that's what you're really looking for. So vitamin D is one of the four main vitamins, A, D, E, and K, that
Mhm.
is fat soluble in the body. So it's really important in order for us to properly absorb it that we take it in a fat base with some fat.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Um, Thank you. And I mean, this is great. I love to combine, Western medicine with Eastern medicine and kind of bring it all together to see like what adjustments can be made, and then we start to put it in that realm, and it becomes very like not striking, right?
Yeah, it becomes
I
very
think a lot of
manageable.
us like we talk about educational trauma a lot, but we don't really talk about like that trauma around going to the doctors and going to the dentist, these kind of things, but they definitely are real things. And I mean, if anyone out there is listening and you're like, I haven't had blood work done in forever or something of that nature, like,
Scary, right? Because you don't know what you're going to see. You don't, then you're like starting to question yourself, what am I doing wrong? The doctor doesn't often give a great explanation. You're left with just these values. You're like, what do I
yeah.
mean? Like, it's really scary.
Yeah, and for me at least, like to share a little bit more about myself, and I'm okay with that. But like for me specifically, it's just I wanted to go to the doctors and get these kind of things tested because I am someone that moves my body every day through Kundalini yoga. I've incorporated going for walks and things of that nature, but for those of you that don't know me previous to Yoga Farm Ithaca, but I worked in manufacturing for 12 years and I had 15,000 steps, like easy 20,000 steps each day. And I worked swing shift days and nights. This is the most that I've seen the sun in, the last 12 years. And that really is a thing because I would go to work, it would be dark. I would come home and it would be dark. I was very committed, so I didn't go outside on my breaks and things of that nature. So I think it's a real adjustment period for my body, and I'm starting to believe that maybe those all those steps that I did take were something that my body needs. I shared with Supriya that I've started to have a lot of you know specific like joint pain. I started to link it. It's actually kind of around the time of the month when it is my lunar cycle. So I'll really start to feel my joints. I have one of those zip up saunas that I get in, and I notice that that really helps me. And then as far as myself through my body structure and the weight gain that I've had over a certain period of time is kind of like really struck me to like, okay, let me adjust some things on my own. And then as I adjust the things on my own, it becomes kind of discouraging. And I know someone out there relates to this, so this is why I share. But it does kind of become discouraging because you are making these adjustments, and it's still not going in that direction of good, or it doesn't feel like it is. So that's why I really sought this blood work and to chat with you as well because I thought maybe thyroid or this or that, but all of that came back good, and just looking for some guidance on moving forward to be my healthiest self.
Um, I want to touch upon what
Sure.
happens through your bleed time, and then we'll go back
Yeah.
um, to the weight gain, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So you said you experienced joint pain. You said it's right around when you have your lunar cycle.
Mhm.
Do you notice any other symptoms? And does it start like a week before, like more like PMS symptoms, or does it start like right before, like the day before you start bleeding?
Like 3 days before.
Okay. And do you notice any other symptoms?
3 days before. Just like brain fog. I'll get like a little extra spacey. I'll get a little extra spacey. As far as like mood swings, I would say no, nothing of that nature. I would say mostly leaning towards just a lot of joint pain. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what I find interesting is I feel like the way that you mentioned the joint pain is that you were almost equating it with the weight gain.
Hmm.
And that's very normal. But based on the fact that you said that it is cyclical and very specifically near your bleed time, to me actually speaks more to vata,
Hmm.
specifically for the joints. Generally, whenever there is pain in the body, there is going to be a vata imbalance and disturbance. When you are bleeding, if you're someone who bleeds, that is vata time for you. That
Hmm.
is, your body is in a state of vata, of releasing. of experiencing that downward flow and release. So I would actually, for that, I think the sauna is a great idea. I would actually do like a Manharian oil, which is really great for like joint pain and muscle pain. And I would massage your joints on those, like on, like you said, like roughly the 3 days leading up to, and even during your bleed time, if you wanted to continue massaging your joints, I think that could be really helpful.
Okay. I do use sesame oil. Is this a different kind of oil that you had mentioned?
Yeah, so Manhattan is actually a medicated oil. It has many different components in it. I don't remember all of them. I usually get it on Banyan Botanicals, honestly. And it is sesame oil based, but because of all the other herbs that are infused in it, it can be really specifically helpful for joint and muscle pain.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
I
especially
will
the
start to
Kapha
incorporate
style
that.
joint and muscle pain. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was only over like the last because I don't have joint pain all the time. And so over, as I've been like starting to notice more and intentionally actually, and I'm like, "Oh, actually this is like around that time frame." So,
And I love that awareness, right? Like it's just about bringing awareness. Like, oh, is this all the time? Oh, is this experiencing
yeah.
some of the time? All right, what else is happening around me? Is it something I ate? Is there something
Yeah,
else going on? Is the weather changing? Like, so
exactly.
I love that awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That really is what it's all about. It's just like bringing awareness to what's happening in our body,
Mhm.
and and also not getting overly caught up in it, right? Because I think that like a real that's something that happens to a lot of people is that we just become overly identified with every single thing happening in our body, and then we always think something is going on, or that we always need to adjust something, when sometimes we
Completely
just need
agree
to
with
let
that.
things go.
Yeah. Yes, I completely agree. Yeah. Okay, good.
All right. So then going back a little bit to you had mentioned some weight gain, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And in a way that doesn't feel healthy but feels uncomfortable in your body.
Correct. Yes.
And so what I would love to learn a little bit more about is, when did this start happening for you? How long has it been going on for? Has it been kind of steady throughout, or has it changed in kind of the cadence? Yeah, would you be able to describe it a little bit more, please?
Yeah, I would say it has been over a year now. So I would say about from October of 23. I'm like, where are we at now? Like, where are we at? That sounds like a long time. So I would say like about a year and 3, 4 months, about over a year, the last year and some. I really started to notice that. I think I know for sure at that time I was leaving my previous job. It was a very much a high stress time for me. There was changes in my family dynamic, um, the household structure. There was like all of that thought, all of the things that came with like leaving one place after 12 years, going somewhere else. Um, so I think at that time I was like, oh, I'm stressed. It's like a a form of stress, and then it was something that just kind of gradually kept over time. And then it was like, oh, I'm starting to notice this. And so, we do a couple things to see if we can make an adjustment, and then it just keeps going. Seems like it just steadily keeps going on as time goes on. So
And what adjustments have you tried along the way?
as far as like health wise, eating, how like the things that I eat, the times that I eat, um, I typically move with intermittent fasting. So I really eat my first meal around maybe 11 or even 12 o'clock, somewhere within that time frame. I find that that's good. That works good for me energetically, like energy wise.
Yeah.
My body really responds to that. I actually haven't been diving into coffee that much. I noticed that as I started that intermittent fasting, my body isn't craving coffee or caffeine the way that it used to.
Mhm.
So when I do have that coffee now, I really just stay clear with the coffee itself, and maybe like a half and half creamer rather than the I don't want to say like artificial creamers, but I just like I was having those for a while. I was like, this is it. Like this is not good for me. My body like does not want this. Um, but it tastes so good, right? So so that, and I'll add a little bit of honey in my coffee. So if anything, some honey in that. And then making sure that the meal that I do eat is the first meal that I do eat is something sustainable. So that's typically my largest meal of the day is that first meal that I have. I don't I want to say that I feel like I don't process meat well. Um, and I do think that sometimes maybe my joints actually hurt after I have like red meat. I don't know if that makes any sense. But mostly chicken, not chicken. I didn't mean to say that. Mostly salmon and fish, different types of fish is really what my diet regimen is. And then my family is so big on sweets. Not my family, my fiance. Sorry, honey. Sorry to call you out, honey. That guy has such a sweet tooth, and for a long time, I think we're just like in the house, like, oh, I'll have a sweet too. And then it's really the awareness. It shifted for me of like, I actually don't want this. And so I kind of like went through that as well. It's like, we might go out to a place and he gets all this. That doesn't mean that I have to have all that. And it's actually something that I don't want. So I have been really good about, I don't want to say staying away from sweets. It's just like not what my body wants right now. And then adding in walks and I do have my daily Kundalini practice, and being more mindful about keeping my, I don't know, you ever see those reels where people are like sweeping and they're sweeping really fast, right? Or whatever they're
I'll
doing.
try to stay away from social media as much as possible.
Whatever they're doing, here's a better explanation. Whatever they're doing really fast.
Okay.
Um, so I just try to slow down.
Okay.
And yeah, I try to slow down. I'm really mindful. I've shifted. I'm really mindful again because I cycle around. Really mindful in the speed that I go through things. Uh, and I think that that's good for me. I notice when I'm even going like this, talking fast, if I could just pause and slow down a little bit. I think all of that's good internally for like my stress levels and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, so you said your first meal of the day around noon, that's usually your largest meal.
Hmm.
So if we could just follow up a little bit, one, how else, like what is your feeding window like? And I use feeding window because generally when people talk about intermittent fasting, they talk about a feeding window and not. So I know that terminology can seem a little awkward, but that's why I'm using it.
Yeah.
So so what is your feeding window like? How often do you generally eat during that time?
Mhm.
And what do those meals look like?
Yeah, I would probably this what we're getting around to is probably it's not enough. If I were to start tracking again, I'm probably not intaking enough. Um, but definitely around like 11, 12 for that first meal of the day. And that could be anything with like the salmon, the fish, typically with a salad, although I've kind of been noticing that my stomach after I eat salad kind of gets like a little garbly, is the best way that I could explain it. I do like grains. I like rice. I like brown rice. I like white rice. All of that. I'm a big fan of sushi, so I really enjoyed that. And then like as far as snacks, it would be like I've been really enjoying the Greek yogurt with granola and honey and banana. So that's like my sweet treat that I really do enjoy. And yeah, evening time could look like anything.
Okay.
That's it. It could just be, it's kind of like a free for all. Yeah.
All right. What about yesterday? What was it like yesterday?
Yesterday, what did I eat yesterday? Um, that same routine, basically with the two things I already mentioned. And for dinner time, oh, I had leftover. I do eat meat. Like it just doesn't always agree with me. So I had leftover steak
Okay.
that was on a sandwich, but didn't sit well with me. So I just took the steak and kind of put it on with some lettuce.
Okay. And how was
Yeah.
your tummy after that? Because you
And
said,
there was too much cheese because I've been noticing that I also think that cheese does something with me. So I kind of like, even though I feel like I used to love it, but I didn't. But what was your question after?
well, sorry, so two questions. One, what does cheese usually do for you? And two, you said you put on lettuce, but you also said during lunch the lettuce doesn't necessarily sit as well with you. So how did it sit for the steak at dinner?
It typically results in like if I could just be honest, like going to the bathroom after. It
Okay.
just kind of like just feels like it runs right through
Is
me.
that's a cheese?
Not the cheese. The cheese feels like it curdles in my stomach.
So the cheese feels like curdles in your stomach, and then the lettuce or the salad. And when you go to the bathroom, is it gas? Is it gas with stool? Is it loose stool? What's it like?
Definitely loose.
All right, so it's loose stool.
Yep.
Is there any gas with it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
And then how's your sleep? And what,
Really.
sorry, what time do you usually eat dinner?
And by 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by six.
And do you have a snack before bed?
Um, sometimes,
Okay.
sometimes I notice like I don't, and then I get like really hungry around like 8 o'clock, and then I'm like, oh, well, it's too late. So then I
Okay.
typically don't.
All right.
So
And how do you sleep?
I sleep really good. There's times where I'm like, 7 o'clock. It's when are we going to bed? Are we going up to bed? I'm waiting for it. It's not that I'm tired, but it's just like I've done enough that day, and it's like I want to be restful. Like I want it's time for me to go in and rest. So I'm definitely, I would say, in bed by like 9 o'clock most nights, unless I got something going on. We're going to musical karaoke or something. And then even then, I'm like, I don't know if I should be here, just because my energy level like really dips.
Okay.
But 9 o'clock, definitely in bed, watching American Picker reruns, and TV off by 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And I will sleep like natural alarm like 6:40 would be like my natural
Okay. You
alarm.
don't wake up in the middle of the night at
Never.
all. Okay. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I've had a few thoughts as we've been talking,
Okay,
but
great.
I'd love to share and get your
I'm gonna
feedback.
see, make sure everyone's still with us too. So thank
Oh,
you
yes, of
everyone.
course. And if
Thank
there are
you
any
everyone for
questions,
being
please
here.
share.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks, Supriya. All right, so what are you thinking?
All right. So working, it's such long hours, working swing shift. Obviously that takes a high toll, especially like on your adrenals, right? It's a very stressful time. I don't need to tell you that.
Hmm.
And that can do is that can really spike our cortisol levels, and that can cause cortisol dysregulation after the fact, especially being up during the nighttime. That really tends to increase cortisol a lot, which can take a long time to recover from afterwards, like years to recover. So, you mentioned that this all started, you had a really stressful transition from leaving your last job. There were other things in the house. And, people usually think about stress causing weight gain, and that can happen for some people. Uh, and so I think a couple things. One, your body might just be in recovery mode now. So after so long of so much stress and night shifts and night swings, to now that always kind of being on alert, always kind of be on like high, like need like really like have that sympathetic nervous system activated. I need to know what's going on, both
Always.
at work and
Yes.
both at the home time, that now you finally get to relax. Now you finally get to exist in that parasympathetic state. And I think, and a lot of times the body's just like, oh, I can finally relax. I can like stop. I can pause. I don't need to constantly be go, go, go. And that can sometimes come with weight gain too.
Hmm.
As the body finally feels comfortable enough that doesn't have to run around all the time. That's like, oh, I can afford to be safe and put this weight on now.
Hmm.
So it could really just be that this is just, it will take time. And I know that's not always like the most the most helpful answer at the time. Like, you can feel a little frustrated to be like, what do you mean? It just needs time. But the body is now trying to say, oh, I'm safe. Okay, whenever you're feeding me, I'm going to hold on to that food as much as possible because I used to be in such a stressful position that I didn't know what was coming next. So I need to do everything I can to hold on and know that I am safe and continue to know that I'm safe. So that will come with holding on to all the food you eat. That will come with weight gain. Eventually, the body will learn that it's safe, and then the weight will start to naturally go.
I just want to say, like, I 100% feel that, like, with my whole body. And I do feel like that is the answer, and that is the leaning to. Um, I could think back times when I like, and it's exactly how you said, just living in that state of like, what is this next thing? All right, what's the next thing to go? And um, also just like reflecting back of like all the sounds, how loud it was in there, the lighting, all of the things. Those were things that I was really working through. And, like through my training, I was like, okay, these are ways that I can keep myself into balance, right? And I do feel I've been working with the root chakra a lot and moving through today. Earlier today, I had a sound session, and that's really like what, just like self-care, things like that. We all need that. So I had that sound session and really working with that root chakra and that sense of like safety. I found that I really like am going back around to that. So I know like we're speaking about this now, but I feel like it's like in a clearing. Like it's so close to being in a clearing because it is exactly as you said, like my body is has made like this complete shift. And when I say my body, I just mean my complete body to what I have known for the last 12 years and what I have gotten to know and actually live, right? Not even know, but get to live now. So it does feel like it's a major adjustment period, and I think it is taking time.
Yeah, and that's true. But that doesn't mean we can't help you in the meantime.
Yes. I like
And
that.
so, me too. So there's a couple of things I want to call attention to. First is the intermittent fast.
Mhm.
Because for anyone who's experienced adrenal fatigue, you're going to have, and who's experienced times of high cortisol, you're going to also experience sugar dysregulation.
Mhm.
So, eating meals at consistent times throughout the day is actually going to be much more helpful for your body so that it can regulate its blood sugar more consistently, and also so that it doesn't, from like an energetic perspective, it knows food is coming. It's not like, oh, I've got to hold on to this because I'm not going to eat for another 12 hours or 14 hours or whatever the time window is, right? You said, I think you said more than that, right? You said 6 till noon, so 18 hours.
Mhm.
So not eating for 18 hours, that can feel like a lot, right? For the body when it's already trying to re-regulate and it's already trying to find a sense of safety. So I'd say for anyone coming out of adrenal fatigue, coming out of a really activated sympathetic nervous system, intermittent fasting is probably not going to be the best option for you.
Okay.
Eating meals at regular times throughout the day is going to help your body feel much more safe. Now, eating your largest meal during the day, at lunch, when the sun is out, very Ayurvedic, absolutely. But just like, again, an 18-hour window, it just seems very, very long when the body is trying to recover. I also think this is probably why you hit 9 o'clock at night and you have no energy.
Mhm.
So for some people, this will manifest as waking up in the middle of the night. That what happens. So what happens is our liver can produce more sugar during the night to help our bodies because our mind uses so much glucose to help us get through the night. And so if people aren't eating enough for their body or they're eating too early before they go to bed, for some people that manifests as waking up in the middle of the night and trying and having and struggling to fall back asleep, usually around like 3 o'clock in the morning, because they just need a little bit more sugar to help them get through the night.
Mhm.
But I think the way it's manifesting from you, from what you said, is just this like total energy drop at 9 o'clock at night,
Mhm.
or even before that. So I think that having more steady meals throughout the day, one, will help your body know that it doesn't have to hold on to what you're giving it as much. And two, will also help with your energy levels to be a little bit steadier throughout the day so that you can go out, you can enjoy karaoke, you can do the things like that you want to go out and enjoy with the people you want to go out and enjoy them with without feeling like, oh my goodness, what am I going to just get into bed?
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. And I think I've been like leaning as if you do that testing where you're like, yes, your body's like, yes, your body's like, no.
Yeah.
And I have been leaning into there's just been coming to me to eat around 10 o'clock. You know, not by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Make sure
Yeah.
you get something within you. Because it is like I do tend to get like a little bit hungry at that time, but then it's just like I'll get going with something or I'll like move my body a little bit and drink some water. And then before you know it, I'm like, oh my goodness, it is 12 o'clock. Like I
Yeah.
need, and my fiance is like, what did you eat today?
Right.
And I'm like, oh yeah. So, okay.
Yeah. So whatever way it's easiest, and I know it can be hard to like do schedule shifts and things like that, especially with teaching, especially with Kundalini yoga and moving energetics and not wanting to, be too full before that. I
Mhm.
absolutely understand that. So just start small, like start with like a snack in the morning, like maybe it's an apple with some almond butter on it, right? So it doesn't have to be anything that takes a lot of preparation. Maybe it's a handful of nuts and some dates. So it doesn't
Okay.
need to be anything that like really requires a lot of preparation,
Mhm.
just something small at regular intervals so that your body knows that it's fed
Mhm. Okay.
and your body
Um,
is nourished.
while we're on that, do you have any thoughts about juicing? Because I just love my juicer and I do find like that's my morning thing. I kind of didn't mention, but um any thoughts on that?
What do you usually put in your morning juice?
Everything. It depends. The last one was lemon orange, lemon orange. Uh, it was kind of like a smorgasbord of all the stuff that I had left from this event that my mom and I had. So there was like celery, orange, lemon, and I think that was it for the last one that I had. But there is oftentimes I'll use the blender and also do strawberries, blueberries, and I'll take that and then mix it with whatever that I already have created. So, not super intentional about what exactly I'm mixing in. If I got ginger, I'll put ginger in there. It all tastes good to me. So, is there anything that maybe I should stay clear from or any ideas about juice in the morning, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So juicing in general is not necessarily very Ayurvedic because it tends to be cold. You tend to be, I'm going to go a little bit more Western medicine on this, which is that you tend to lose all of the fiber
Okay.
and aspects that help you stay full longer, whether it's fruits or vegetables.
Okay.
What this means is that if you are tending to put more fruits in it, it's going to have a higher sugar content than eating those fruits itself. And even if you're putting vegetables in it, again, you're mainly extracting the water and the sugars from it. So you're going to end up actually with like a higher sugar content
Okay.
than you probably expect.
Hmm.
And so, especially when you're trying to balance your blood sugar,
Yeah.
that can be a little detrimental.
Okay.
And the reason that I also say that is usually our blood sugars are a little bit higher in the morning. Why is that? Because our cortisol spikes in the morning. Our cortisol naturally spikes in the morning to help us wake up. That's what helps us get up from sleep. So that's very normal. Usually, whenever there's a slight increase in cortisol, there's also a slight increase in blood sugar. That's how it works in the body.
Okay.
So combining that by adding something that's possibly more easily absorbable sugar or glucose in
Mhm.
the morning when you are trying to, specifically if you are imbalanced in regulating your sugar, specifically if you are imbalanced in regulating your meals, that can be that can kind of contribute more to dysregulation as opposed to contributing more to bringing back into balance.
Okay.
So, but I would never want to take anything that gives you joy. It gives, and obviously
I
makes
just
you
started
happy.
back around to it. So I mean,
No, no, if it
I'm
makes you
not too
happy,
far into it yet.
no, no, no. If it makes you happy, go for it. I would say let's add some like coconut butter to it. Let
Okay.
I wouldn't do coconut oil because that can gives people some tummy problems. It can give people it can sometimes give people diarrhea, specifically if you're using MCT oil. But coconut butter is really great to add. Or can we add some like almond butter in there?
Okay.
Something like, because you said you use a blender too, right?
Yeah, I'll do between the two. Yeah.
So like let's add something that's going to give it a little bit more body to it.
Okay.
whether that's going to be like some almond butter, like a good few tablespoons. Like I would
Okay.
really make sure that you're giving this some body. Maybe it's even like you roast a sweet potato the night before and you put the sweet potato in, and that way you have like the fiber and the body of the sweet potato. But whatever you can do to kind of like give it a little bit more body, I think would actually help you, would help your cause a little bit more.
Okay. I have sweet potatoes in the refrigerator, so
There you go.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah, sweet potatoes, some almond butters or some coconut butter, and that would be, yeah, that would be really a great addition. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. And
So
then,
we do have about 10 more minutes, so I just want to keep you I don't want to keep you all day. I probably could,
well,
but I'm gonna let you have the floor here and see what other recommendations you might have for me to move forward with.
yeah, and if there are any questions from anyone who's watching, please let me know as
Oh,
well.
let me see. Let me
There's
see.
one thing I definitely want to make sure we touch upon, but I also want to make sure we have time for questions if there are any.
Okay. Hi everyone. There's currently 9 people watching, so I see you all. Such amazing information. Thank you so much for your openness. Yeah, absolutely. And your digestion, all of the things. Yes. And thank you, Supriya. You're amazing. So no questions, just some
Yay! All right,
comments.
we can go to
Other
the next topic I want to talk about.
yes, yes. Okay.
All right, the difficulty digesting meat, especially heavier meats like steak.
Hmm.
The lettuce and causing runs to the bathroom.
Hmm.
What this is all difficulty digesting cheese. What this is all really speaking to me, and what a lot of people experience without realizing is low stomach acid. So
Okay.
when you have low stomach acid, so when we eat, one of the first ways that we start digesting food is mechanically in the stomach. And the stomach has a very is very acidic, has a very low pH level, because that acid helps to start breaking down foods, and specifically the acid starts to break down proteins and denature those proteins. And so that's what helps us digest it better and digest it more as it goes throughout the GI tract. So if somebody has low stomach acid, in particular, they're going to have trouble digesting um, proteins, cheese, things that are heavier of that nature.
Mm.
Um, and so I would love to really focus on helping increase that digestive fire, that digestive agni for you. So there's a few ways that, we could go about this. I think that the smaller meals more frequently will also help with this, because then you're giving your stomach specifically less to digest at a time,
Okay.
by having smaller meals more frequently. Sometimes with intermittent fasting, people tend to go towards larger meals because you're not eating for as many hours throughout the day. So you've got to get your calories in.
This will probably work for me because I know I shared with you a little bit ago, but it's like I'll eat about half a meal and then I feel full. So it's just like that fact of like I don't have to eat this whole meal, and that's where I had those leftovers yesterday because I'm like this is like feels like 3 meals to me.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of like eating when I feel full. However, if I could do that a little bit more throughout the day, it's actually going to kick that in for my digestive fire and also be like, hey, you're safe. You're going to get fed again. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so very much it's that low digestive fire.
Okay.
That's the reason for the early satiety. That's the reason you start eating and you feel full, because the stomach acid is not enough to help really break down those proteins,
Okay.
um, help you digest them. On the other hand, that's also why the lettuce is kind of running through your system, because all the digestive fire is being used for whatever protein you're eating at the time. And so you're not getting any nutrition out of the lettuce. It's just like, all right, this thing is going through right now because we've got to focus all of our energy. So, if possible, if it speaks to you to like cook greens at all, I know maybe not cooking lettuce, although you can roast lettuce, it's actually quite tasty, but or char lettuce. But if whatever way you could do, like maybe some like cooked spinach instead, or what do you feel is available for you?
Yeah, I mean, I loved cooked spinach. It's something that I did when I included within when I did the keto diet like years ago. So it's just something I come back around to. So I could definitely start incorporating those those warm greens. And I do love warm food. I mean, that is good for me. So bringing that in, maybe putting that in with my eggs. I do eat eggs from time to time. Definitely very agreeable with me. It's just I'm not sure why I don't take that initiative to make these eggs. Yeah.
So
So,
eggs can be a little bit easier to digest as a protein. Um,
okay.
Cottage cheese is also a really great idea. It's grass fed. because it's a little bit easier to digest as a protein.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so I would say going towards cooked greens is going to be really helpful for you to get more nutrition out of it, and again for your body to feel more nourished and to just digest it better. So smaller meals more frequently will help specifically with that stomach acid. Some people do take like betaine HCl, so basically they take hydrochloric acid,
Okay.
um, but that can be really tricky because it can just make you feel like you've got heartburn, necessarily feel very comfortable. And it can feel, yeah, it doesn't necessarily feel comfortable right away. And it can feel like just too much in like a capsule.
Okay.
But if you wanted to, something that you could do is CCFT, so coriander, cumin, fennel.
Okay.
You can sip that throughout the day. You take the seeds and then equal parts of each, and you steep them in water. If you find that it's a little too dry, like it's a little too astringent, take out the coriander. Just do cumin and fennel. And cumin, in particular, is fennel is very soothing for the digestive system. Cumin is really great, especially for helping increase digestive fire. So that could just be a way to kind of like spice up your water a little bit, and just kind of like throughout the day do something a little more gentle. Um, I would also really suggest digestive bitters. So especially
Digestive. I'm gonna write that one down.
bitters.
Okay.
Yeah, so especially if you're having trouble digesting meat, and trouble like that early satiety, taking some digestive bitters can be really helpful. Can be really helpful before you eat.
Okay.
So digestive bitters are like literally like if you get like cocktail bitters like people used to make cocktails, that's literally what digestive bitters are. So you can use any host. You can use gentian, you can use centauri, you can use wormwood, you can use what are some other organ root. So it you use the ones that call to you. um, or dandelion root is another really great one. So
Okay.
use the ones that call to you specifically, and try a blend. I would honestly like try a blend with them. If you, I would get cocktail bitters, and like you don't need to put them in cocktails. You can put them in water. You can put them on your vegetables. You can put them on your meat and use them as marinades. Like you can put them anywhere. And that kind of like bitter content is really going to help with the digestion as well.
Okay. Okay. Great. Love it.
We covered a lot.
I
What
got
questions do
we
you have?
did.
What
We did.
questions?
Hopefully I didn't overshare too much, but I think it all leads to something, and I definitely appreciate that. Um, so I wrote down some of the things that you said, and half of it sometimes is just talking through it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I
absolutely.
love this. I love this. Thank you for your willingness to coach me, and
Absolutely.
anyone that's listening, like this is like what the flow would be, right? Back and forth. So it feels good. It feels like a conversation, moving back and forth, sharing, and then you dropping in like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And sometimes it is just that awareness of, hey, this that is what you're going through. Not a sense of like a validation or anything of that nature. It's just like, yeah, okay. And sometimes it's the things that we don't talk about that it's we're not sharing or not moving through, or those are the things that by me sharing this with you today, I'm able to kind of be open with that and move forward on my health journey. So I look forward to adding a couple of these, definitely shifting the times that I eat, and noticing how that is with my energy in the evening time. um is there anything that I would notice in the evening time, like am I going to start waking up in the middle of the night, or
No,
anything
I
of
don't
that
think
nature?
so. I think that it'll give you more steady energy to eat
Okay.
more smaller meals more frequently, so that
Okay.
you do have, not that you're like, oh my goodness, I've got so much energy at night, but that you have more energy to do the things that you want to do. And it's not just like, because 7 o'clock and going to bed when it gets dark at 4:30, that makes a lot of sense. It's dark at 4:30. Everyone's like, what am I still doing awake?
Yeah.
7 o'clock going to bed when the sun's awake till like 8:39,
Yeah.
that's a little bit more unusual, right? We reflect the rhythms in nature, and so when the sun's out longer, we naturally have more energy. We gain that energy from the sun. We naturally want to be out longer and participatory in activities with friends. Um, so I would see how your energy levels reflect what's also going on around you. And also like as your digestion improves, it's not just going to be your energy. You might notice other things too that are improving. Like maybe yes, you're sleeping well. Maybe you'll notice that you're sleeping a little bit even better because your digestion's improving. Maybe you'll get up and you're like, oh, I'm really hungry when I wake up. Like that's a really good sign that your digestion is waking up and that you're doing really well too.
Okay, great. I look forward to making these adjustments and noticing what I notice.
Yeah,
Right?
let me know how it goes, please.
Good. Okay, we do have one. Someone had just mentioned, I think I need warm food too, and and need help my digestion. So they're saying that warm food might be better for their
Oh
digestion.
yeah, absolutely. For anyone who's having trouble with digestion, definitely warm food is going to be better. And if you have a minute, Sabrina, I'll just quickly share this.
Yeah,
But
I
um,
do. Yeah.
so whenever we're putting food in, whenever we're looking at our digestion, we want to increase blood flow towards our belly. We want to increase blood flow towards our digestive tract because then that's how we know that digestion is important at the time, and that's how we send energy there. If we are eating cold food, the minute cold hits our body, it causes our blood vessels to constrict. So if we're eating cold foods, we're causing the blood vessels in our belly to constrict, which is not sending blood flow there. It's the opposite, which means it's going to be a lot harder to digest your food. So if you are experiencing digestive difficulties, definitely having warm food, sitting calmly at meals, really activating that parasympathetic nervous system is going to be incredibly important.
Oh yeah. I learned from my mom too. She just drinks warm water.
Yeah.
And so even for me, I do tend to that. Like not even with tea, just like the warm water, a little bit of lemon.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that even towards like the evening time, afternoon, evening time.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Someone had asked that they had said that this is really new to them. They're interested in learning more. Could we recommend any ways to learn more about this? And while we're here too, is if you do take personal coaching sessions, is there a way for people to get in contact with you specifically?
Oh yeah, I do take personal coaching sessions. I have a website, ayurvedaally.com. I can share that with you, Sabrina, if you want to share that with everybody. And yeah, just I have a discovery session on my website. It's just like a 10-15 minute call for us to just get to know each other, chat, find out what's going on. So please do feel free to join me there.
To reach out. Okay. Once I have that, I'll go ahead and put it in the thread for the comments here in this live feed, and I'll follow up with that. I'll look over the next couple days to see if there's any tags or any questions that pop up, and I'll connect with you, Supriya, to get those answered. Thank you so much for holding space for this and holding space for all of my shares. I truly appreciate it and so happy to work with you and be here with you and move through all this. We got some hearts coming through. So thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I'll see you soon, Supriya.
Thank you.
Okay.